Hi, this is Willie. Got a bit of a shop update for you guys. But first, let me get a drink. Been going through a couple parts, getting rid of some scrap. I don't use these vertical shaft engines, so I'm taking the parts out into the shed. So, been up to a few different things. One thing is my brother got the soda machine up and going. We'll be putting this away for winter pretty soon in a few weeks. That was 45 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. So while the leaves are green now, it probably won't be long before they start to change color out here. The reason I bring that up is, as cold as it was this morning, we were going to start doing some painting. And had to fire up the kerosene heater. It's not lit now because it's pretty warm in here now, but for those of you that have to run heaters in the winter, I suggest making sure they're up and running. This one fired up no problems. So what I've been up to is getting ready to paint some parts. These are some parts I had painted before with just one coat of POR 15, and I had some rust bubble up through while I was sitting out in my damp shed. So I already hit these with the metal prep and rinsed them off. I also, just earlier today, hit this with some wax and grease remover, so these are prepped for paint. Gonna be doing that tonight. But what I've been doing is sandblasting or wire wheeling and putting a coat of POR 15 followed by a coat of Rust-Oleum. So that's what I've been up to. Oh, and for those of you that are wondering, I got some more information on these Wisconsin engines. The TFD is a 1953, and the THD is 1959. So they're both from the 50s. And between that period in time, they sold however many. They're both 2 million. This one's 2,071,000. And this is 2 million and what was it? I can't see it too good. 2,986,000. So they sold 900,000 engines in those few years, which is pretty impressive. So I just thought you'd find that a little bit interesting. I'm not going to get these on camera once they're done, but I can show you what I have done out in my shed so far when I get out there. But yep, been working. I also dropped off some opposed twin Briggs crankshafts at a machine shop to see if we can get one welded up and machined back to stock. So I'll turn you guys back on once I get over to the shed and show you the parts that are done so far. Okay. Thought I'd run the old 1967-2012 today since it hasn't been running in a while. all the parts I had redone. Not all the parts were rusty, but I know what, some of the parts that weren't rusty I hit with the top coat of Rust-Oleum just so they wouldn't be good. The axles I hadn't done before. These ones I just did this weekend. Hit the rusty steel with a wire wheel and painted them with a brush, making sure to keep the machine surface back here clean as well as the splines clean. As for the boots, I hit them with some 303 conditioner and finished off the steel with some fluid film on a rag to make sure that wouldn't rust while it was sitting out here. But yeah, that's all of those I got ready to go for on my truck. I'll bring all those other parts in. This would be where I normally park that tractor out of the weather. I gotta sort these parts left and right and get them put away out of the way. This is where I keep quite a few parts. There's the D100 hubcaps. That'd be the brake rotors for my 95 Chevy, and the carpet, all the interior parts from the 95 Chevy. I have a new rear bumper under there. All kinds of stuff back here. There's the new bumper brackets, which I want to keep the original on the truck just because. Torsion springs, sway bar, all that fun stuff is back here. So that's what I've been up to. I'm going to take these engine blocks up to the scrap yard, and I have some other engine blocks to go through. These are vomit shafts. This one actually is one I had rebuilt and forgot to replace the oil slinger in it. Didn't know it was bad, and burned up a brand new set of rods on 2 occasions. The engine detonated, rebuilt it, ran it again, and detonated, and wasted money on 2 rebuilds because of a bad oil slinger. Lesson learned on that one. I will never buy a vomit shaft ever again, unless it's to get rid of it. But that's the good set of oil slinger gears. What'll happen is the tips on that, the tips on the end of this will actually wear off, and then it won't bite into the cam. So, came out here, dropped all the parts out into the trailer. I can't take these parts and put them out in my shed, which will be over there. Okay, I'll turn you guys back on once I have the other engines on my car. Okay, hang on. Here's the scrap pile. This guy threw a rod. That engine had stuck piston rings, but it was complete. I'm actually using parts off of that for my CH25. That engine lost a rod. That engine was losing a rod. Another one had a tight rod. And this one actually had a corroded out crown on the piston. It was actually missing aluminum on the top of the piston. That is a 301. That was a 29 horsepower big block. That was a 27 horsepower. That was a 14 horsepower. And then those were both 18.5 horsepowers. So, another one bites the dust. But all in the process of saving others. So let's go take a look at the Kohler parts I have set aside for a future build. Okay, hang on. Okay, here I have a horizontal, all the parts from a horizontal CH25. And these are the parts from the vertical shaft 750cc 27 horsepower. And here's a crank side by side. I can tell the crank's apart because this one's rusty from sitting. And this one was out in my shed. This one did not get rusty. This is the 25 horsepower crank. I'm not 100% sure on the cc's, but I think the 25 horsepowers are 7.25 cc's, and the 27 horsepowers are 749 cc's, and it's like 1 millimeter difference in overall stroke. Now, besides the crankshaft diameters being different, the bearing and seal surfaces are identical. The overall length is identical. So this will give me, I think it's a 27 or 29. I don't know. I'll figure out what the specs are and I'll put them on the screen, but I know this has a longer stroke. And another thing that this engine had is the vertical shaft was a 2014 and this was a 98, I believe. I, once again, can't 100% remember, but the vertical shaft is definitely not going to be running anytime soon because the rings are actually, or one of the compression rings are actually stuck from sitting. Probably water contamination from sitting outside, but for free, I can't really complain. I'm going to see if I can't set these heads up where they'll stay. I got to get these boxes off the table. But I'm going to show you the differences between these heads in a little bit. Okay, so give me a second while I get everything set up. Okay, this is the 25 horse head and this is the 27 horsepower head. They both have the same bolt studs for the rockers. They have identical valve and springs. The bolts are all set up the same. Lifter galleys look the same. I already test fit the vertical shaft on the horizontal and it fits. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. This is the 25 horsepower here. So, biggest difference on these is the chamber shape. This one has, the older one has a pent roof, and the newer one has a kidney, I believe that's called a closed chamber, and this one's been burning quite a bit of oil. This one hasn't been run much since it was cleaned out. This 25 horsepower was binding up just from junk in the cylinder. Otherwise the engine seems to be good. I had gotten these from the engine shop to make sure the bearing surfaces were all good on the crankshafts and the block. So I'm not sure what the CC difference is on these, or which one would burn better than the other. I have to do some research, but I do know that Midwest Super Cub sells closed chamber heads, not pent roof. That could be an indication that these might be better heads. I'm going to grab the caliper and check the size of the intakes on these, see if I can't find a difference. So hang on. Yeah, they're about the same size. Yeah, they're about the same. So, if I had to guess, I could probably get the... I have to see what the difference in the CCs is. So there's not really much guessing on this. So this might be a smaller chamber than this one, but there is a difference. We'll see which heads are better. That'll be for another day. I want to build a big displacement opposed twin Briggs before I build this Kohler. I just wanted to see what the Kohler was looking like before I invested a lot of time in it. I have the block sitting out here. The block looks pretty good. And I might even have this bored out and re-sleeved since it's nickel sealed. It doesn't have the sleeves in it. We'll see, but that's for another day. But yeah, I got a long stroke crankshaft for it. At least that's a start to a build. So yeah, there's a bit of an update for you. If you like the video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. And as always, have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.